people catching up. Right, so hi, this is Laura Stephen here. We are the Musketeers. Robin's with me. We are just going to do our first coaching of the year for 2017, just to get you guys back on track, get you doing some goal setting, and really get you focused to move forward with your multiple streams of income. So your primary network marketing business and your My Lead System Pro system, to just try and get some money coming in for you guys and get you some growth and really make this the best year ever that you've had. So I kind of just wanted to, this is an open session. I've muted you for just now, but if you've got questions, please unmute yourself, or you know, pop it in the chat. I'll keep an eye on that as well. So the first thing I kind of wanted to touch on is a quick name change to our project that we have had. Danny and Nicole were the ones who came up with the Today Money project. It wasn't anything spectacularly different to what other people offer, but they'd labelled it the Today Money project. And Gavin was at that time supporting it, as were we. And basically, Gavin has stepped back from that and given ownership back to Danny and Nicole as their product. So we have changed our name up. We're still using exactly the same basis because it's good, it's easy to use, it's easy to promote. But we're being more direct as well about it, because really what we want you to be showing people is there is a way to bring in a multiple stream of income. So that is why we've changed it up to be called that. So just be aware when you're using language to try and avoid the words Today Money project, because it doesn't actually belong to the Musketeers, it belongs to Danny and Nicole, and use multiple streams of income instead. So it's just a bit of housekeeping really. So happy new year everybody. It's 2017, a new year. We're a couple of weeks in already. I can't quite believe that, but where has the year gone so far? What I want to talk to you about really is some goal setting. Where are you with your goal setting? Have you guys set goals? Have you thought about how you would like to actually move forward and try and kind of build an income, and where do you want to be by the end of this year? So be interactive with us, guys. Let me know in the chat kind of what your thoughts are, because there's a way that you can set goals, and you can pick any number out there. Most people have a number based on they want to replace a current wage, or they've got a specific goal in mind. Like I know Robin's planning to go to Disney World, so she'll have a set amount of money in her head for that. These kinds of things. So if you've got a set goal, what I want you to do is get your pens and paper out and think about your goal for what do you want to be bringing in monthly by the 31st of December 2017, and how are you going to do that? How are you going to achieve it through your primary network marketing business and MLSP combined? So obviously we're all in different network marketing companies, so I can't really talk you through how to engineer the money for that, but I can give you an example. So we've got 12 months within that year. You'll know how much money you can bring in from recruiting one person. So you can work out how many people you need to recruit per month to build up. So it's reverse engineering. So if your total that you want to bring in by the end of the year is, say, I don't know, I'll just pick a number out there, $10,000 a month, which might seem really high to some people, but it's really achievable. You need to work out, well, how many people do you need to be recruiting per month on your primary network marketing business? But how can MLSP help you with that as well on a monthly income? Because we're each getting $100 in our pockets per month for the people who are signed into MLSP as an affiliate payment. Now, it's only one level deep, we all know that, but that's still a payment in your pocket. So what I want you to think about is, how many people would you like to have an MLSP underneath you? How many people would that help with the money towards your monthly pot? And again, reverse engineer that. So if you wanted to be bringing in $10,000, you might have that. It might not be achievable to get $10,000 in a year within your primary, but actually MLSP could really help you get to that stage. And you're not putting all your eggs in one basket either. So reverse engineering is a really, really sensible thing to do, especially at this time of year where you've got a good run of time to start thinking in blocks of 12-week years, guys. Think about it that way. You'll be much more productive if you think about, well, this is my goal. My end goal is this, but if I take that back 9 months, take it back 6 months, take it back 3 months, it's going to give you mini goals that will actually help you keep focused, keep motivated, well past the point you feel like you didn't want to do it anymore. That time where you feel like you should just sit on the sofa and watch the TV. Well, that'll help if you've got a goal that's seems much more achievable than something like $10,000 a month. So, obviously $10,000 a month broken down would be 7,500, then 500, then 2,500. So you can work it out where you're at by the end of the first quarter, the end of the second quarter, the end of the third quarter, the end of the fourth. As I say, use your numbers, don't use that as a number. So let me know if that's something you've heard of before. Gavin has touched on it previously, but it was probably this time last year since he last spoke about it. So I know a few of you are quite new or newer to Gavin's training, so you possibly haven't heard of that. If you need help with your numbers, then reach out to us and we will help you do the maths, because it isn't that complicated once you actually start writing it down and working it out. Does anybody have any questions on that, or want to put in any ideas, or would that be useful to you? Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Just unmute yourself if you can. If you can't, let me know. No, everybody seem okay with that? Obviously, nobody's answering me, so okay. While we're talking about goal setting, I've got a bit of homework for you. I want you to think about really closely, and this is something that Eric Waddy is actually just teaching this last week, on how to identify your own skill set. So there are, great, Gail, you were making notes. There were 7 basic fundamentals to network marketing. It doesn't matter if you're building offline or online, the fundamentals are exactly the same. Again, you might want to take notes on this and rate yourself between 1 to 10 on where you think your skills are. So if you don't know where your strengths and your weaknesses lie, and there's no right or wrong answer to this, guys. I'm not interested in your number as such, but what we want to know is how to help you improve your number out of 70, okay? So this can be your network marketing business that you're presenting. It can be MLSP. It can be whatever you are. It's a general skill, so I think it goes for both hand in hand, really. So the first one is finding prospects. How good are you at finding prospects on a scale of 1 to 10? Write down a number. Don't overthink it. Just think, yes, I find that easy. I've got more prospects than I know what to do with. Or, I find it really difficult. I don't know who my target market is. Whatever. Just you put a number of 1 to 10 down for me. The second skill is inviting people to look at your opportunity or the MLSP product and platform. How good are you? How confident are you inviting? What's your conversion rate? How many people do you invite say yes to having a look at it? And then how many signups? That's the key to inviting, is actually how good you are at getting signups. 3, presenting. How good are you at presenting? Now, I'm not meaning that you have to sit and physically present it, but the process of showing somebody a video or talking them through the setup, that kind of thing. How good are you at that? So again, put a number down for that. The 4th one is, how do you feel about following up? So we all know not everybody buys on the first round. Sometimes they take up to 8 engagements with you before they'll buy something. They're gonna, maybe even more, maybe less. So how good are you at remembering to follow up with these people? And somebody's screen sharing with me. Okay. I don't know how to undo that from somebody else's perspective. Mary, Lynn, you're sharing your screen with us, darling. Yeah, so follow up. I'll keep talking. Follow up.
It's at the top to remove that.
Can I do that?
I don't think you can, but Mary, it's right at the top. I should say stop sharing screen.
Yeah. No.
No? Usually is. Let me see. I can options.
No, I've got.
Oh, there we go.
That's okay.
You're paying attention. That's good.
So, yeah, number 4, follow up. How good are you remembering to go back to people and speak to them, or is it like a one-off contact and then you don't remember to go back and talk to them? 5 is your closing technique. Fairly straightforward, making the sale or not making the sale, basically collecting a decision. 6, getting people started. So, introducing them to the basic training and telling them, doing a fast start in your own MLM, or, giving them into our group for MLSP and kind of getting them started with the getting started stuff on MLSP. And then promoting events. I'm not so worried about you promoting events in this stage, but, I know that certainly my network marketing company are very, very hot on building from event to event. So if you're starting to build a team, you should be starting to promote those events as well. And MLSP have their own events, but they're mostly in America. So, as a non-American, I don't get too stressed about that. So mark yourself out of 70. So each has got 10 points. Now, I've done this myself and I've been really critical of myself and I think that's important. And you get your total number and I thought, oh, that's not very good. And that's okay because it actually shows you where you really feel that you need help and support. And it will help you be more guided with what training you want from us and what training you can tap into with the MLSP training that you've got, and other coaching that's around. And it will also help you understand where you need to practice things. So I hope that's kind of been of use to you, and something to give you some thought pattern on where you want to go forward. So between that and your goal setting, and then the next step would be creating a daily method of operation or a game plan. Now we all have a different daily method of operation. We all have different circumstances because based on the amount of hours we can commit to something per day. But for me, the daily method of operation is kind of going back to the 6-step sponsoring sequence, which is all about how to connect with people online if you're building your business online, and actually getting on the phone and speaking to people, or making that transition from chatting to them to offering them something. And that should be your key goal here, is asking enough questions to be able to be in a position to find a problem that you can solve. So you may decide straight away that this person is suitable for your primary MLM. You may ask leading questions that if you're in the health and wellness industry, you may ask leading questions about their health, about what kind of lifestyle they lead, and that would be opening up to something that may be a business opportunity for you. If it's another network marketer and they are telling you they're really happy in their own network marketing business, it's not your job to try to convince them to come on board in your business. That is where you switch tact. You stop thinking about primary business and start thinking about MLSP and start saying, okay, so how are you building your business online? What are you doing? And what do you find challenging? Be of value, add some content in there for them, tips, hints, these kinds of things. And then, you could say, actually, I have a platform that I use that really helps me build my business online. Are you open to having a look at it? And you basically use the scripts that we've given you guys in the back office to take them through that leaded conversation. And, then collect the decision. And the quicker you can do that, and if you set yourself a goal to speak to so many people a week or a day, depending how your time scale goes, you will find you get traction because, all of this is about confidence. So, just like what I was speaking about there with your skill set, it's about confidence in yourself and confidence in your own ability. The more you practice, the more confidence you're going to get. Do you know what happens when you've got confidence is you actually build your competence. The confidence equals competence, which equals momentum, which equals sales, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. So if you're sitting here and you tell me you've only spoke to 3 or 5 people a week, then don't expect huge results from that, because we all know that the average network marketing average is 1 in 10. MLSP is probably slightly higher because you're actually giving them something that's, going to help them build their current business. For the people who really turn around and say, actually, I'm so happy in my Juicy Juice or Grapey Grape or whatever company it is they're in, and so you need to set yourself some goals. And I kind of have a daily chart where, and you can have, there's apps on your phone and stuff that you can click on, you spoke to X amount of people, you connected with X amount of people. I'm not going to tell you what numbers to do, because that has got to come down to you. You have to look at your time schedule and block the time accordingly, based on your home life, because I don't know what your home life is. I mean, Robin has more time to do stuff because she's at home, but then I know she can't really be on the phone because Shane's always there, so it's hard for her to get phone time. She has to block that in when Shane's sleeping. Len has 6 kids, I think it is, so my goodness, it's like must be like chaos in her house, so some of you may have jobs, full-time jobs, some of you may have commitments to other things like church or hobbies or groups, these kinds of things. They're not excuses. You shouldn't use it as an excuse, but you need to look at your time and what works for you. So what works for me won't work for you, because I work on a really, really small time scale per day, and manage to do things in 2 hours that I feel is enough to keep a momentum. So it's like the compound effect. I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, Robin. So
Yes, I do actually, because we can kind of tie this all together. If you want to be making 10,000 at the end of the month or end of the year, then, and you're breaking it down and you figure, for example, we'll just use MLSP because we're all in MLSP. If I need to bring 100 people in total, so 25 people in a quarter, break the math down. How many is that per week? How many is that per day even? You could do it that way. And then figure out, if it's just use the baseline of 1 to 10, sign up, figure out, I need to talk to 10 people today, or I need to talk to maybe 20 people this week or something like that. Break that down to whatever your number is. And once you start doing it, now remember, it's a learning curve. So what you're doing now may not work as well as does in 3 months, because your language is going to get better, your communication is going to get better. But if you start doing that and keep a track, that's one big thing, keep a track of what you're doing, then you'll see, is it working or not? So
yeah. Definitely. So yeah, definitely keep a track. If you don't know your own numbers, we say the network marketing average is 1 in 10, but actually your own numbers will improve as your skill level improves. So every time you do those 7, let's call it self-assessment, that's 7 things, and you give yourself a number. Ideally, if you do that at the end of every 12-week period, you would hope to see your number go up, because you're doing more of each skill. And so you hope that your average number would go up as you learn. And so you can use that as a basis to expect that your conversion rate is going to go up as well. Sorry, my voice is starting to go today. So I'm not quite sure what time we're at. Okay. So, time are we at?
it's been about 20 minutes.
Yeah, so we've got ages yet. I realise I talk really fast, guys, especially when I'm on a time limit. So if I'm talking too fast and I go totally Scottish, you need to tell me to slow down, because I know that I do that. So do we have any questions so far? Is that clear to everyone? Does anybody have any thoughts or feel completely lost with anything? Please unmute yourself, let me know, or put it in the chat. No?
Laura?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, with the MLSP, do you ever send people to the automated kind of webinar that they have going on to bring people into MLSP every day? Does it just depend on when you speak to people, kind of their ability level, where they're at?
Yeah.
And you ever use that to promote MLSP?
Yes, for the webinar, use it as a tool, as you should use the blog, and you can use all of this as content, guys, for your group. If you guys have followed that path and you have a group, because I know not all of you have, but I think most of you have a group. And even if you're not using it on your group, you can certainly use it on your profile, and on if you've got a Facebook page, you can use it on that as well if that's what your target market is. You can use it as a reconnection tool. So say you've chatted to somebody, and you go back to them a couple of weeks later, and you know they're not really in a position to like join your MLM or whatever, but just to add value to them, you could say, I have this great webinar that's on tonight. Now, my only difficulty with the MLSP webinars for us in the UK is the time difference. So Tuesday is more manageable for the Hangouts, but the Wednesday one, it's like 2 a.m. So be aware of that time difference, because even though I do tend to post it in my group on occasion, if I see one that I think people would like, I usually do reference the time quite strongly, that it's for my international contacts, are probably more of benefit. But what you
and there's no replay for
for non-members.
Yeah. But you can use that little trick that you say that there's no replay, and then when people ask you for the replay, you say, well, you need to be a member of MLSP. Would you like to check it out? And
there's a 10-day trial. Yeah, then there's
exactly
opening for your 10-day trial for $10, and they can check out the replay. So, there's a lot. You just have to think slightly outside the box, such. But just think of all the tools that are in there and how you can use them to your advantage. The blog as well. I mean, the blog is great. It's highly underused by me. I need to use it more. And if you're using your own links, then everything gets toggled back to you. Everybody goes into your own CRM, and you can use that as a basis to start a conversation with them. I saw that you clicked on the blog. Are you having problems with this? Yada, yada, yada. You just take that conversation and run with it. Because if they're interested in a blog or they're interested in a webinar, then there's a chance they're interested in knowing more about that specific skill. And there you've got an opening to say, well, actually, I have a 10-day trial of this entire platform for $10 if you're interested in it. Come and see what it's about. Send the videos that we've done for you. And Bob's your uncle have got all the information that they need. Does that help, Lynn?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Laura.
I don't know if I answered all of your questions there, because you gave me a few in a row. So what was the part?
Sorry, I'm bombarding you with MLSP. There was just also one other. It was an automated webinar that I found.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going on to the Hangout, but it actually turned out to be almost like a promotion. It was, oh God, I've forgotten his name, Mr. Finale presenting it, Brian Finale presenting it, and it was like an automated kind of promotion of MLSP, and it's every single day. I think it starts at 6 o'clock our time.
All right, okay. Well, I don't know about that. Do you know about that, Robin?
Yeah, they have. I know that. I think they just redid it, because I know, like a year ago or whatever, it was bad. I'm not gonna lie. So I kind of do use it myself, because in fact a lot of people were saying that. But I know, like I said, Brian redid it just maybe the end of last year when they kind of made a couple changes.
Okay.
And yes, she's right. It does run every day. I think there's like 2 or 3 times they can pick or something like that, if I remember.
Yes.
And then it looks like it's like a real webinar for them, but we know it's a replay.
Okay. So that's another tool you can be using to say, if you want more in-depth information on this, here's the webinar that's on tonight at 6 p.m. and use it the same sort of way as you would use any automated webinar, Richard's or Gavin's, or for our sake, for mine and Robin's.
Mm-hmm.
And Lynn, you're in the same boat there. So, use the tools. Don't just feel that you've constantly got to be speaking to each other. I mean, the tools are there for you to be used, and they're created in a way, and they're written in a way by experts who are professionals at doing this. So that's why we always say you should, even in your own primary MLM, you should use the tools you're given rather than trying to present it yourself, because actually it's much, much more powerful to do a pre-presentation setup, show them the video and then close it. If you can do that live, then that's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same principle as MLSP, that these guys are been here a long time. You know, especially Brian, he's the founder. So use the tools, be smart about it, put that into your daily action plan. You know, how many people can you get on that webinar per night? You know, how many people can you send the info to as part of your follow-up? If they've got questions, you can send them to that webinar, especially if you watched it and you know what's in it. You know, I personally would watch it before I sent anybody to it, purely so I kind of understood what I was sending them to. But yeah, definitely use the tools that are there. You know, obviously use the tools that we have given you as well. To, you know, you've got the scripts in the back of that group that we've created for you. So don't go and refresh yourself with those scripts. I actually have the scripts saved in Evernote, so I always have them with me because I always have my phone with me. So I always feel like I can just recall it if I feel like I'm lost with the conversation. So anything else you wanted to add on that, Robin?
No, I think that actually I was looking for that webinar so I could put the link in for everybody else to check that out, because Lynn's right. Like you said, it would be great if, you know, even if you make that, you know, I want to get 5 people, I want to tell 5 people about that webinar a day or something like that. That would definitely bring it up. But you're right. I would definitely check it out first.
Okay.
Of course, I can't find it right off the top of my head.
Okay, awesome. So what I wanted to close with is some messaging structures to help you get started speaking to people, because lots of people seem to have an issue with this. Obviously, again, if you're following the 6 steps, you'll have Gavin's structure on how to introduce people into your group. But I'm talking about going out and actively finding people. Yeah, we can do teaser posts, we can do leading posts, we can add value, we should be doing all of that. But you can actually target people, and you know, I've taught this quite a lot on Facebook, specifically using fan pages of other experts in our industry. Now, I'm not saying you should be going into like another network marketing company and kind of poaching those people. I'm talking about the more generalized coaching people. So like Eric Worre's page, Tony Robbins's page, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people on these coaching pages that are following them on Instagram, on Facebook. These are all your target market for MLSP, guys. Every single one of them, because they're in network marketing or they're in some sort of small business that could use this. You know, Robert Kiyosaki, all of these kinds of people that Ray Higdon even, you know, he doesn't even have his own business anymore other than coaching. So you can really use this to your advantage. The best advice I can get is to actually just go spend 10-15 minutes a day, maybe more if you've got time, but if you don't have time, then 10-15 minutes a day, and just click on a couple of what comments that you would, you know, posts that you would resonate with, and go through the comments and start to interact with the people that are commenting, because they're obviously active on the page, so you know they're active on Facebook. And you can do similar things on Instagram where you kind of follow followers and you connect with the followers. But from a structured perspective of talking to them, what I would suggest you do is you send them, and you can either comment reply to their comment with a clever comment that's going to engage a conversation, or you can actually click through to their profile, do the 3-2-1 steps. It's 3 likes, 2 comments on a photograph, and 1 follow or friend request. Be aware that if you send too many friend requests out quickly, you get blocked. So you could send a Facebook message with that. I would never ever send a follower a Facebook friend request without a message. And the biggest tip is, if you use Messenger app rather than your laptop for this, you should skip the filtered folder, because they'll get notification if they're on Messenger that they're getting a message. So your messages will be more successful in getting through. And basically there's a structure to the message that you want to send, and it's hey or hello, whatever your turn of phrase is, the person's name, always personalize it. Why you're messaging them. So, you know, I saw you on the I saw your comment on Ray Higdon's page. I really liked your attitude towards self-development. Something, you know, I'm just pulling this off the top of my head. Make sure you put a compliment in there, like great profile photo, or had a look through your profile, love the content you're providing, and then finish it with a question. So, you know, would love to connect. Where are you from? Or, you know, if it's obvious where they're from, then pick something you can connect with, because what you're trying to do is build a rapport quickly with somebody and get them to respond to you. If you can do that with a targeted person that you can either bring into your group, or you can just go straight for the conversation, build up that rapport over 5 or 6 conversations, and then open up with MLSP, you're gonna get sales quickly. You're going to build good content, you're going to build good connections. And if you just have that formula, so it's hey, whoever, why you're messaging them, pay a compliment, and then close with a question. So I would not do a copy and paste job on this, guys. I would make sure that you're personalizing it, because if you do a copy and paste, you're not going to stand out at all. You're just going to seem like you've just sent out some garbage email to everybody. So I hope, is that useful to people? Does that kind of help you reach out to people that are on fan pages and in other groups that might be a target market for you? Is that helpful? Yes, no? Everybody died? Nobody's speaking to me?
That's very helpful, yeah. I'll say we got great thanks.
Okay. And so a couple of don'ts there. Don't message everybody super fast. Don't add too many people quickly. Always to kind of personalize it. And don't spam your MLSP links in groups is the other thing I wanted to mention. You know, because I know that actually some MLSP leaders do teach this, but it's old hat. People know what it is, even if you're using a Bitly link and stuff. Just add value. Ask people to comment on the post to get them engaged with you, to then offer them the free cheat sheet or the free content or whatever it is that whatever promotion you're using. You know, you've got all of those programs in the back there that are for free that you can use as value. And, you know, if you're really struggling with what to write, MLSP have suggestions and that you can copy and paste, but personally I would change that. And create your own image to go with it. For all the 5 minutes that takes, it's just going to make you stand out from the crowd. So Robin, I don't know if you've got any tips from what I've just said for Instagram that kind of crosses over.
Yeah, it's very similar. Like she was saying, you know, you can create your own picture, even a short video. Now, you know, especially on Instagram, you know, we now have stories and live and everything. So videos are getting bigger and bigger on Instagram. And I can't believe I, who hate doing video still, am actually saying to do video, but you know, you got to get with the times, you know? So, and as far as the followers, it's the same thing. You know, when you're on Instagram, if you type in Eric Worre and then go down a little down arrow, you'll see suggestions. And you'll see people like Ray Higdon, April Marie Tucker, you know, other people that are in MLSP. You can talk to their people, you know, I mean, definitely you can do that. And I know from personal experience, I've had multiple people tell me they almost rather work with me than April Marie Tucker for Instagram, because I'm more attentive than she is. You know, she's up there, you know, made all her money and everything like that. She's sitting back relaxing, you know, whereas I'm still in the trenches, you know, and I will actually respond to people and help people out, you know. So they're the same thing. And then people will feel that same way about you if you're doing that, you know, and reaching out to people. So just keep it that. Oh, and the one thing I did want to say is end with a question. Don't end with a question of, do you want to see, you know, my stuff or anything like that, or, you know, something like that. Make it a conversation. You know, what would you normally to say to somebody who lives on the street, you know, who you met? What would you say? You know, you would probably say, where do you live? You know, what do you like to do? Something like that. You know, what do you do? just keep it happy, like a normal conversation. You meet somebody in a restaurant, what would you say to them? You wouldn't ask them right away to, come view my website. That would just be like, whoa, kind of scary. So just be normal, I guess would be the best term.
Yeah, good tip. So we've got a couple of minutes left before this shuts me out. Have we got any questions based on what we've talked about tonight? And do you feel fired up? Do you give me some feedback? Do you feel like you kind of got a plan of action to put into place? You want to sit down and do some numbers and work out where you're going? Or do you still feel lost?
Yeah, Laura, sorry, my internet I think cut out at the time you were talking about daily numbers. I heard you obviously talking about everyone's time is different, but just for my curiosity, what sort of figures, how many numbers are you going through in, say, an hour? How many people are you connecting with and having a conversation with, and actually getting to the point of asking them to see MLSP or your primary?
I think if you're connecting with 10 people a day, it's a manageable amount of people to be connecting with. I'm not saying all 10 of them will get to the point where you're having that conversation. They may already end up being members of MLSP, or you work out that they're not a network marketer or whatever. But if you do more than 10 people, 10 to 15 max, even if you've got time to do 20, then fair enough. But for me, 10 to 15 is more than enough to be having conversations and manage those conversations well. Any more than that, it can become slightly overwhelming, and then you actually lose your integrity because you're not following up.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you, Laura.
Welcome. Anybody else? Any other questions? No? Okay, I think we'll close it up there. Yeah? Close it up there. Oh, I've lost you. Hang on.
It says about a minute, so.
Yeah, so put your questions in. If questions come up or you want help with your numbers, please put it in the group or message one of us and we will help you. We'll speak to you throughout the week, and we're going to hope to do these relatively regularly, so keep an eye on the group, okay? All right. Well, take care, everyone, before we get kicked out.
Bye.